If politicians cared to move into the real world and listened rather than lectured, they would understand the inescapable truth that while there is a cost of living crisis, governments, through appalling policy, are not solving the crisis, but adding to it. There's an election coming up in New South Wales. You've heard me talk about this. The government is as green as they come. Remember I told you yesterday, one of them, James Griffin in Manly, in the presence of his Premier, nodding agreement, said of coal-fired power stations, and I quote, "Everybody wants to shut them down as quickly as possible." What? Everybody wants to shut them down as quickly as possible. And when the Energy Minister Keane had a blinding insight that he might need coal-fired power and previously told the media, quote, "We're not ruling this in or out," that is, delaying the closing down of a rearing, Premier Perrottet, once a Liberal with some common sense, but he's gone hopelessly green, said, quote, "Intervening in a rearing is not part of our plans." This in response to Keane saying that the government could intervene to keep Australia's biggest coal-fired power station a rearing open. Yet you've got this New South Wales minister lining up with the policy eunuch, Labor's Chris Bowen, to say that everybody wants to shut down coal-fired power stations as quickly as possible. That's why I'm returning to this issue. We have to understand we have a massive crisis on our hands, inspired by utterly irresponsible policy. Remember, every increase in energy costs feeds into the cost of living. As I talk to you now, as you can see, I'm sitting at a desk. There's a television monitor in front of me. There are lights and electrical fittings. All have been transported here. Without energy, they stay in the storeroom. You'll put food on the table tonight, whether it be meat or vegetables or milk, all brought to the supermarket by trucks, utterly dependent on energy to get to their destination. But this mob want nothing to do with fossil fuels. Renewables, the sun and the wind will do the lot. Bjorn Lomborg I speak to often, and I communicate with Bjorn Lomborg. And he reinforces this truth. He's a visiting fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. He's the president of the Copenhagen Consensus, which is an outfit dedicated to researching and understanding the economics of global warming and other problems facing a growing planet. Now, he wrote a book, which everyone should read, False Alarm: How Climate Change Panic Costs Us Trillions, Hurts the Poor, and Fails to Fix the Planet. Now remember, Bowen and Keane and Perrottet and Co want fossil fuels, coal and gas out of the way in 7 years' time. Bjorn Lomborg says, and I quote, "The rich world's fossil fuel hypocrisy is on full display in its response to the global energy crisis following Russia's invasion of Ukraine." He says, quote, "While the rich G7 countries admonish the world's poor to use only renewables because of climate concerns, Europe and the US are begging Arab nations to expand oil production. Germany is reopening coal-fired power plants. Spain and Italy are ramping up African gas production. Many European countries," writes Bjorn Lomborg, "have asked Botswana to mine more coal such that the country would have to triple its exports," unquote. He makes the point repeatedly that fossil fuels today provide more than 3/4 of the world's energy. Solar and wind deliver less than 3%.